A wiser man than me once said, if on the path to enlightenment you meet the Buddha, kill him. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick, and that was a somewhat dark opening. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to say thank you to the people who have liked, subscribed, and tuned in. There are precisely 22 more of you than I ever would have expected. In case you're wondering, that equals 30. So I appreciate you subscribing. It is excellent of you. You're gentle, kind souls, and I'm sure all of you got straight A's in high school and middle school. I'm sure. Anyways, the dark opening. If you meet the Buddha on the path to enlightenment, kill him. I've talked about this before, I think. What does that mean? It was said by a man wiser than myself to me. So I can't take credit for the phrase. I'm sure the phrase has an etymology somewhere deep in the vast recesses of human history. And by that, I mean probably the 1970s. But what does it mean? You would think if one were to meet the Buddha, your first instinct should be, don't murder him. Well, frankly, if you met the real Buddha, you perhaps shouldn't murder him. Murder is not a good thing. I'm not encouraging murder. Don't murder people. Don't be mean. Just be nice. Just be nice. Don't be mean. Nobody likes a meanie. Nobody likes a murderer either, but let's go basic level and just be nice to people. If you can't be nice, don't murder. So that's my advice to you today. However, metaphorically speaking, if you meet the Buddha on the path to enlightenment, kill him. The assumption here is that if somebody comes to you and says, I am the Buddha, I am the one with all the answers, that should be a red flag to you. A purported wise man or woman comes to you and says, I have all the answers to your problems, just follow me. Notice what I'm doing with my hand. That's a sign of magic and trickery and sleight of hand. Keep in mind, kids, magic in our world is either science we don't understand or it is sleight of hand illusion. Illusion to be differed from actual knowledge. Now, illusions take skill. Watch this hand instead of this hand. Flip my finger, the card is gone. The card is obviously not gone. We know that. We enjoy the illusion because we enjoy the mystery of trying to figure out what is behind it. However, in your career, in your life, if somebody promises you all the answers, all you must do is follow them, that's a cult leader. It's not a wise man. How do we differentiate? And why is it so important that we differentiate? It's one thing to seek wisdom. It's another thing to seek all the answers. In my view, and this is admittedly just in my view, wisdom is knowing what questions to ask as you move through life. Because you never have all the answers, right? You just never do. You can't. There's too much to know. Even if you know that the basics of gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared, there's so many other unanswered questions by that. Okay, that's Earth's gravity. Is gravity consistent around the entire globe? I recently learned, no, it is not. But I wouldn't have known to look that up if I didn't know what question to ask. If somebody offers you an answer, you should use that answer to look for more questions. And I saw this today on a video that popped up on Instagram because that's where I get all my podcast information from. Instagram, social media, because there's so many things on Instagram and social media. Stop going to social media for answers. Why? Because in 30 seconds, nobody's going to give you an answer. They're going to try to sell you something. You cannot possibly get an answer in 30 seconds. You can only get a product. You can only get an advertisement. Don't fall for it. Social media is just a marketing scheme now. Did it used to be that way? I'm not going to sit here and say the grand old days of social media. No. Social media is just another means of communication for humanity. It has been turned into another means of selling things for humanity. I'm just noticing my hair right now. I look like freaking Ace Ventura with my little curl here. Like I'm going to walk in and start trying to solve the mystery of the missing dolphin. Dolphins got beat by the Bills, by the way. This is how my brain works. Back to what I was saying. On social media, if somebody offers you an answer, assume they're selling you something. Because they are. Everybody's trying to make a buck. Social media is the place to make a buck these days. A good teacher doesn't teach you the answer. Because anybody can memorize an answer. 2 + 2 = 4. You don't have to think about that. It's just true. You can memorize that. You don't even have to count things. If somebody just says, I got 2 dogs and 2 cats, how many animals do I have? You got 4 animals. You don't have to sit there and go, okay, 1 dog. You're memorizing. You memorize your multiplication tables. You memorize things that don't require much thought. Multiplication tables don't require much thought because they're simply true. We can be comfortable in the fact that 2 + 2 = 4. I do not care what you say to me. New math is never going to change that. If you count up 2 things and you add another 2 things to it, it makes 4. Don't come at me. But my point with that is that those are the sorts of things that are appropriate for memorization. However, that's knowledge. That's not wisdom. Knowing 2 + 2 = 4 is a factoid. Knowing how to deploy it, how to use it in conjunction with other things, that is the beginnings of wisdom. The beginnings of wisdom are piecing together facts and then answering a new set of questions about them. Probing. A truly wise person won't tell you things and say, you must believe this to be true. A truly wise person will engage you on a topic. Let's talk about, say, acting. Acting is big. There's tons of would-be Buddhas in acting. And every single one of them promises you something. Back to the post that triggered this, one of my favorite accounts out there, Audition Pro LA. She has a habit of going through TikTok and finding people who are kind of being what I'm referring to as being the Buddha. They're trying to offer you answers and insist that their way is the right way. First of all, acting is a creative industry. There is no right way. There's no overnight successes, but there is no right way. Some people went to Juilliard. Some people never went to acting school. Some people never went to acting college at all. Some people get by with no acting classes. Some people have to take years of acting classes before they get near it. Some people are just very pretty and they just sort of waltz into the room and they get the role because they're pretty and charismatic. Some people who are pretty and charismatic never get cast at all. There is no right and wrong answer in the acting world because it's just you. It's just your career. So when somebody offers a one-size-fits-all solution, that's a red flag. I'm not going to poke fun at all the accounts that Audition Pro LA does. Just go on Instagram at Audition Pro LA. She does a much better job of debunking these people than I ever could because she has much more industry experience than I have. The point is, though, she's calling out people for offering fixed solutions. Good acting teachers don't offer a fixed solution. They don't say to you, oh, just read this line this way. It'll be great. Read this way. Do this motion. What they say to you is, let's personalize this scene for you, and then what comes out will be natural. But the way they personalize it to you is they teach you to ask the right questions. When you're breaking down a script, what is this similar to in my own life? Oh, it's a little bit like this scenario. And then all of a sudden you're on a journey to making that script sound true and authentic. But you got there by asking questions. You didn't get there by memorizing answers. You memorized the script, but you didn't memorize the answers. In every industry, that holds true. The best lawyers aren't the ones who know the most law. They're the ones who know how to ask the right questions. The best accountants know how to ask questions. That is how you get good at something. You learn the right question to ask, sports included. Okay, I have this, I know how to throw a fastball now. But what's the best way to use a fastball? When should I deploy it? You ask the questions, then maybe you find an answer, but the answer will always be subject to change, which is why you need to know the questions. If this made any sense, like and comment. If it really made sense and it resonated, subscribe. Join the 30 people who have subscribed to me. It's a nice community. If you didn't like it, maybe ask yourself some questions. What sort of podcast would you like? Ask yourself those questions. You'll find the answers. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.